All right, great. Time being 6:14, I call to order the City of Glenwood Springs City Council meeting. This is our regular meeting for the month of August. It is August 21st, 2025. And first of all, good evening, everyone. Hardly ever do we have a full room, but it's nice to see some audience every once in a while. So thank you for being here. That said, we're going to move into roll call. Ryan, please.
Mayor Dame,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelensky, Councilor Townsley, Councilor Schmall, Councilor Weimer, Councilor Schachter, Councilor Smith. We have a quorum.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Item number 2, agenda changes for tonight. We'll see none. Excellent. We'll go into item 3, disclosure of any counselor's conflict of interest for tonight's meeting. Also none. Excellent. Item 4 tonight, as always, council announcements. And we'll start with Mayor Pro Tem Zelensky, please.
First of all, on our consent agenda, we will be appointing 2 community members to our boards and commissions. The first being BAIL, which is a victims assistance fund that helps offset the cost of if you've been victim of a crime. You can apply for a relief fund, and the board appoints those disseminates. What's the word? Yeah, dispenses those funds. And then the other is our River Commission, and so I'd like to thank. Oh, and there's a third. Okay, I'd like to thank Priscilla and Gregory for that, and then also letting y'all know the Aviation Expo is scheduled for September 27th. It's a Saturday out at our KGWS Airport, and it will be a lot of fun. So mark your calendars.
Excellent, thank you. And to piggyback on Councilor Zelensky's comments on the appointments for the commissioners, we have a appointment for the Historic Preservation Commission. Charlotte Brooks stepped forward and wanted to join the board. So thank you. Thank you for all of you who want to sign up and be part of our boards and commissions. Any other council announcements? We have Councilor Smith, please.
Thank you. Just a reminder that next Wednesday, not quite a week away, is the all world volunteer fair at the Glenwood Springs Library Plaza. This is hosted by KJAX Radio and the library and the city. Just 2 or 3 dozen, at least last I knew, community service organizations will be there recruiting volunteers and talking about their services, so you can learn about those services and you can be part of it. It's from 2 till 6 in the afternoon on Wednesday, the 27th. So sounds like fun.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Any other announcements? No, we'll see none. We'll move on. Item 5 is citizens appearing before council that are not on the agenda. And I have a list here. Now, a couple of ground rules quick. We have a counter on the screen. It's 3 minutes. I'll give you 3 minutes to talk. We want to hear what you have to say. Please stick to the 3 minutes. I will cut you off. I hate to do that, but I'm going to have to. I have a feeling in the time-wise, we may get a little a lot of comments tonight. So I want to make sure everybody has a chance to talk. Also, if and I'm not 100% sure why you're here, but if some of you have similar comments or heard somebody say the same thing you wanted to say, maybe refrain from saying it again, because it doesn't really help to hear the same thing about 20 times. So just be original, say what you want to say. We want to hear it. But in looking at the head count, I don't want to waste a whole lot of time. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste our time. So with that, I have a list. It's a short list, but maybe not all of you had a chance to sign up, but we'll start with Mark Adler. Please come forward, state your name and whether you live in city limits or not, and you got 3 minutes.
Mark Adler, I do live in the city limits. Thank you, Mayor, and esteemed members of City Council for allowing me to speak tonight. My name is Mark Adler, and I'm a passionate resident of Glenwood Springs for the last 54 years. Today, I'm here to advocate for a growing and vibrant segment of our population, the pickleball player. Pickleball, as many of you know, is not just a passing fad. It is the fastest growing sport in America. And its popularity here in Glenwood Springs is undeniable. It's a sport that truly brings people together, from seasoned athletes to families, from our youngest residents to active seniors like myself. It is accessible, easy to learn, provides excellent exercise, and fosters a wonderful sense of community. However, our pickleball facilities, while appreciated, are simply not keeping pace with the incredible demand. Let me elaborate on the challenges we currently face. First, we have the single tennis court at the community center that has been lined for 2 pickleball courts. While resourceful, this setup is far from ideal. Players typically need to bring their own portable pickleball nets and have to set them up. Often there is a scramble for court time, which can create friction with tennis players who rightfully want to use their dedicated space. This shared use arrangement limits consistent access and creates an environment where people feel like they are borrowing a space rather than having their own. Second, we have 1 permanent pickleball court behind the tennis court. I appreciate this. This was an effort to provide a dedicated space. However, this court is not fenced, and the concrete surface is cracked and uneven. This presents not only a frustrating playing experience, but more important, a safety hazard. It signals a lack of commitment to providing quality facilities for this rapid growing sport. Finally, our indoor courts at the community center are limited to just 6 hours a week, Tuesday afternoons and Thursday mornings. Glenwood Springs boasts at least 8 permanent tennis courts, yet dedicated quality pickleball courts are scarce. This imbalance is becoming increasingly apparent as more and more residents discover the joy of pickleball. We are seeing players travel to neighboring towns just to find adjacent adequate courts, and that's a missed opportunity for this community. Investing in dedicated pickleball courts is an investment in the health, well-being, and social fabric of Glenwood Springs. We are not asking the impossible. We are asking for dedicated, permanent, and well-maintained pickleball courts. This could involve converting existing, underutilized tennis courts or planning for new purpose-built facilities. The space of 1 tennis court can hold 2 pickleball courts.
And time.
Okay. In closing, and I will close very quickly, I am requesting, please, to make this a real agenda item at your next meeting. If you need to put it before Parks and Rec first, they meet the day before you do. We could put it on that and then have them come here. Since I didn't get to give you everything, I would, with your permission, Mayor,
Sure.
give you a copy of of the parts I missed.
Absolutely.
in the 3
Excellent.
minutes.
Very informative.
Now, the ironic thing is,
As you keep talking, as your 3 minutes.
They're done.
that I was responsible for this 3 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for your comments and thank you for your time.
And there are some, not as many as the rest of the group, but there are a few pickleball people.
All right, excellent. Yay. So
And thank you for your indulgence.
absolutely.
And then I would ask, would you
No,
like to present?
no more. So, but here's what we're going to do a little different tonight. Instead of waiting till we heard all of them, if we have a response to this, bring it back to council quick and respond to the comments you heard. Councilor Zelinski.
I'm a tennis player and I play pickleball and I love them all. And I think more is better. I'm also very aware of our budget resources. They're slim. There's been a lot of talk about converting some of the tennis courts to pickleball and sharing our resources a little bit better. It comes down to money. So I encourage you all to think about some kind of public-private partnerships, some sort of like resources and things that we can do so that if we do bring this as a regular agenda item or bring it to Parks and Rec or something, we've got something to discuss. Because if you just come with the ask, we would enthusiastically say yes, but the how is where we're kind of stuck. So I'm going to kick that back.
Excellent. Thank you. Any other comments to that? See none. Thank you. Thanks, pickleball community. for being here. Let's move on to the next person, and I'm just going to go down the list, and it's Guillermina. That's it. Garcia, please. Please
Buenas tardes.
state your name and
Mi nombre es Guillermina García.
thank you.
Just so we can have this on the record, we're gonna switch to consecutive interpretation, so go a little bit pause, go a little bit pause.
Perfect. Thank you, Bree.
Okay.
You're going to detail out.
Yeah, we're going to add time a little longer. There's no,
Buenas
try to
tardes.
stick to 3 minutes, but we're going to add a little time for the interpretation here, so.
Buenas tardes, soy Guillermina García.
Tengo más de 24 años viviendo en el parqueadero,
I've lived at the mobile home park for 24 years,
en el parqueadero de Glenwood Springs.
the Glenwood Springs mobile home park.
Estoy aquí para pedir el apoyo, ya que hemos formado una cooperativa.
I'm here to request support since we have formed a co-op,
No para intentar, sino para poder lograr comprar nuestro parqueadero de Glenwood Springs.
not to try, but to be able to buy the Glenwood Springs mobile home park.
Como mencioné anteriormente, tengo ahí viviendo más de 24 años y me preocupa.
As I said before, I've been there for 24 years and I'm worried.
Me preocupa que nos desalojen o nos suban la renta frecuentemente como ha estado pasando estos últimos años.
I'm concerned about being evicted or that the rent will continue to go up frequently as it has been happening in the last years.
Y que llegue el momento en que no podamos pagarla. Como nos estamos dando cuenta, tanto la canasta básica está subiendo,
And we're afraid that at some point we won't be able to pay. And as you can see, the inflation is causing everything to go up.
si la renta aumenta, nuestra comunidad tendría que salir y buscar otro lugar para vivir.
If rent goes up, our community would have to leave and find another place to live.
Y con la demanda de vivienda y los aumentos de la renta, se nos podría dificultar un poco.
And with the demand on rent, it could be difficult for us.
Las personas, todos estamos muy preocupados, pero en especial los niños,
We're all very concerned, especially the children,
por el cambio de que si tenemos que mudarnos para otro lugar,
concerned about that we may have to move to a different place.
tendrían que mudarse de escuela. Y también las personas de la tercera edad. Creo que ya ellas ya están cansadas como para mudarse a otro lugar.
And the kids would have to move to a different school. And also the elders, they're tired already and they wouldn't want to move to a different place.
Si nos mudaríamos de ahí, tendríamos que irnos a otro lugar o mucha gente cambiar de estado.
If we left our place, we would have to move farther and maybe even go to a different state.
Les pido de favor que apoyen nuestra causa para mantener accesible nuestro parqueadero.
I ask you if you could support our cause so we can keep our mobile home park accessible.
Como lo mencioné anteriormente, ahí viven niños, personas de la tercera edad, personas que trabajamos y nuestro trabajo está cerca.
As I said before, the people that live here are children, workers, elders, and people that work nearby.
De cualquier manera, todos estamos afectados con esto.
We're all being impacted by this.
De antemano, muchas gracias por su tiempo y por su atención. Y espero que tengan un poco de empatía y que Dios les ablande el corazón.
And so thank you very much. Thank you for paying attention to us, and I hope that you have empathy and God helps you have a good heart.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. We're just gonna keep going down the list and it's Ms. Gomez. Please come forward. State your name for the record, please.
Good afternoon, almost evening. My name is Tina Gomez, and I am also from the Glenwood Springs Mobile Home Park. I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous. I'm a resident there too. I've been there for over 10 years, and I did just go a little deeper in the statistics and stuff like that. So Garfield County is facing one of the greatest housing crises in the recent history. In this park, Glenwood Springs, there are currently 98 families, representing between 3 and 5 people per household. That's more than 300 residents, including single mothers, retired families, and essential workers who support our local economy every day. Most of these families work in Garfield and Pitkin County, carrying out fundamental jobs in hospitals, schools, hotels, construction, and services that keep our communities running. However, the statistics reveal an alarming reality. The median home price in Glenwood Springs now exceeds $1 million. Average, a single family home, making it completely out of reach for these hardworking families. If we cannot keep them in this park, we face a critical question. Where could so many families relocate at once? At present, neither Garfield nor the neighboring counties have the availability or affordable housing inventory to receive more than 300 people simultaneously. The real risk is that many of these families will be displaced out of the valley, losing their jobs, their children's education, and their community roots. We are in a race against time. The deadline to present an offer is September 4th, 2025. And we need to raise $6 million, which represent 20% of the total purchase price of $26 million. This is not just financial effort. It is a humanitarian and community decision that will shape the future of hundreds of residents who are already an essential part of our county. If Garfield County does not act now, we risk losing not only housing, but also the social and economic fabric of our region. These families are not just numbers. They are workers, parents, children, grandparents, and valuable members of our community. Now more than ever, we need the collaboration of the county, the city, and the community at large to prevent a mass displacement that would have irreversible consequences for all. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you for being here. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Ms. Gomez. Moving on to Ms. Munoz. Please state your name for the record, please.
My name's Monica Alvarez Muniz, and I do live out of the city limits. My name is Monica Alvarez Muniz, and I have lived in Glenwood Springs Mobile Home Park for 36 years. I am here to keep my community affordable and to create a resident-owned community. This matters to me because I have raised my kids and we have made our homes here. It is not just about owning the land. It's about continuing to create our own space and keep building our community. We are concerned with the large out-of-state corporations coming in every 4 years and raising our rent and displacing families that can't afford too much more of a higher rent. These families that work hard and add value to the community, as this seems to be a trend. We have families who care for disabled individuals and children. We have a Vietnam veteran and a veteran that is now in service. retired families, business owners, teachers, and many children who go to school throughout the valley. We are all committed to preserving the love and the beauty that the valley holds by being outstanding members of this community. We would like to have the security and the responsibility of making decisions for our mobile home park for years to come. We are asking you, council members of Glenwood Springs, to commit to supporting our mission to keep our mobile home park affordable through a monetary contribution. If not now, perhaps later. We know that funds are low due to federal and state issues. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
And I just also wanted to have everybody raise their hands that are from Cavern Springs.
Okay, thank you very much. We got one more, Miss Lavin.
Well, yes, and I support Mark Adler's remarks, and I'll forfeit my time.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your quick comment. So that concludes the list. Is there anybody else here that would like to speak for comments before us? No? Oh, you would like to say something? Please come forward. State your name for the record.
Esteban Montes. I just would like to say that I grew up there. I've been there since I started school, actually, and I've liked it a lot. I've purchased a place already, and I hope my kids can continue and buy a place there as well. Just wanted really bad at this, but yeah, it's been a place I've loved it. I think it's one of the best places of mobile homes in the county and all here, all from up valley. So I just thank you guys.
All right.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming forward. All right, last call. One more person, please come forward. State your name for the record.
Mi nombre es Judith Álvarez y yo también vivo en Cavernas Spring.
My name is Judith Alvarez, and I also live in Cavern Springs.
Y esta comunidad me ha nombrado presidenta de la cooperativa.
And the community has named me the president of the co-op.
Y al comentario de, no sé si lo pronuncio bien, Salansky, tenemos una lista de más de 14 organizaciones que hemos contactado que trabajan con inseguridad o housing.
So I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Ms. Zelinsky, your comments, but we've had a list of over 14 organizations that are dedicated to helping us with the housing issues.
Desde localmente, como no voy a decir los nombres, pero también he conversado con Sumner, que es un defensor del de housing. Sumner.
So I was going to say, I don't want to say any names, but I also talked to Mr. Schneider over there about sort of alternatives or options for housing.
Y quiero compartir que no ha sido fácil pedir ayuda.
And I just wanted to share that it's not been easy asking for help.
Pero todas las organizaciones locales e incluso organizaciones como Colorado Health Foundation en Denver y en otras partes del estado de Colorado.
And we've contacted a lot of organizations, both locally and outside of Denver, Colorado
Health Foundation.
Colorado Health Foundation and others.
No hay ayuda. No hemos sentido el apoyo. Nos han escuchado y dicen van tarde, no hay fondos, no hay dinero. Por nosotros no queda. Estamos trabajando fuertemente por querer mantener nuestra vivienda, nuestro hogar. Yo tengo 5 años ahí viviendo.
So the thing is that we've reached out to them, and every time we talk to them, the responses seem to be the same. There's no assistance, there's no support, there's no commitment by them. They say they have no funds, and worked very, very hard this whole time to establish my family there, and I want to continue being part of that community.
Y bueno, yo quiero pedir a ustedes que piensen qué mejor que nosotros podamos decidir qué es lo que queremos ver en nuestro parqueadero en vez de subir la renta para ganar y hacernos ricos, sino qué queremos ver en nuestro parqueadero, más luz, mejores calles, mejor vivienda para nuestros hijos.
So I'd also like to reach out and speak to you all, and we'd like to have a voice in what happens with our mobile home park. It's not a matter of just trying to make more money or earning more. We like to have a say in what goes on there so we can develop our community and we can grow as a community in our mobile home park.
Así que, bueno, gracias por escucharnos y quiero agradecer también a todos los vecinos por estar aquí presentes el día de hoy.
And thank you so much for listening to me. And I'd like to thank all my neighbors here for being present today.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Oh, interesting. Well, thank you very much for all the information. Is there anybody else that would like to say something? Because if not, I'll close this part of the public portion of the meeting, and I'll bring it back to council and see what comments we'll have for you guys. So we'll start with Councillor Schachter. Again, we're gonna translate here, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, a couple important things. The Cavern Mobile Home Park and the Valley, in my opinion, is in basically an emergency situation. And the resources, as Judith has found out, are spread thin. We've had some successes, but the resources available are extremely limited. And I would say to Monica, it is very clear that Glenwood Springs has elevated this to the highest priority, and Up Valley they have, based on what's going on. And the amount of mobile home parks for sale in Colorado is astounding. And that is limited Thistle Rock as well. I don't know that there's an easy solution. My understanding is you really need to get this done, you need 26 million, and the gap might be 15, 14 million right now. And I don't know where it's going to come from, but what I would consider, and I haven't heard from, I don't want to point fingers, I don't know if we have the capability, Steve and council, to, in this case, I believe there ought to be a long-term solution for the valley, but in this case, it's clearly an emergency. And I don't know if we have any ability in the leadership in the valley to ask for some kind of emergency convening, not by the councils, but by various managers or nonprofits or philanthropy groups, because this mobile home park has kind of been below the radar screen, and we're talking about 200 some people, about half of which work Up Valley, about 16% work here. I don't know where the help is, but one thing to consider, if we have the resources or the connections, is it possible to have a valley emergency convening to address this and others? I don't know, and I don't know what else to do right now. I will be writing a letter personally, but there needs to be more public outreach from everybody. Thank you. That's all I can say right now.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Any other council member like to chime in? No, we'll see none. Zelinski, no? Yes or no? Councillor Zelinski?
I just would like to say personally, I recognize that this is your home. That was communicated very clearly. You're not here talking about finances. You're not talking about, you're talking about your homes. These are dear to your hearts. This is where you live. This is where you've brought up your children. This is where you hope to bring up your children. We are challenged, as Councilor Shatner said, we have elevated this to the highest level in our community. We have a very limited funds allocated towards this, and we have used them successfully. I think that it is well recognized that within the county we have a crisis. I don't know what the solution is. I think that, unfortunately, probably the best we can do in this moment is to offer moral support, but I don't think that's going to help you get to that $6 million mark. And I don't know what that looks like, but, I appreciate you elevating this conversation and making it very public, and maybe that will help move the needle. I wish you all the very, very best. And if there's any way that this council can be helpful, I think that you have our support.
Thank you. Councillor Smith?
Thank you. I concur about the importance of this particular neighborhood, because it is a neighborhood. It's already there. This city government and others in the valley do a lot of creative work to support and assist in the construction of new homes in an effort to make them more available and more affordable. But here's a collection of homes that already exist. So that to me is a really important priority, to focus on preserving what we have, especially an affordable neighborhood like this one. I wonder if anyone in your co-op leadership can tell us about that deadline. I know that there's an estate law imposed number of days, which apparently run out on September 4th. Have you had any conversations with the owners or other negotiators about getting an extension on that to buy more time?
I'd like to interfere quick. I'm going to reopen it just because this seems rather important. Please come forward to the
Thank you.
podium and let's answer the questions from there, please, so it's on the record. Please state your name again.
I'm Monica Alvarez Muniz.
Thank you.
We have put in a complaint with our lawyer who's doing pro bono work for us, and there has been a pause. That was of last week. We don't know how long of a pause that is. It could give us 2 weeks, a month, we're not sure. We're hoping to find out soon, but that's where we're at. And we're still reaching out to many foundations and so on and so forth, starting to get the connections. It has been a long road, very challenging and stressful. Thank you.
Thank you for that update, and thank you, Mayor, for getting that information
Absolutely.
into the mix. As Councilman Schachter pointed out, this is a crisis, and so I wanted to be sure that we have some breathing space to see if there is something that this community might be able to do, and that having that extra pause may provide that opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Boyd?
There's a coalition of managers up and down the valley that has worked on this issue, and I'm happy to reach out to them and have a conversation.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you. Absolutely. Councilor Zelinski?
And so I'm curious too about the Western Regional Housing Coalition. I'm assuming that they're part of this conversation, but have they been activated?
I don't know. That's what I'll do.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. So we'll work on it and hopefully something will come of it.
Oh, cool. Okay, anyone else? No? Okay, I just want to take a second. Thank you for being here. Thank you for raising awareness of what's going on. Since you guys are in Garfield County and you came to us, which is flattering, thank you. We wish we could help you. Have you guys been across the street to the county commissioners? And actually you have, and nothing there. Yeah, okay. So Western Housing Coalition is a start, and I think what's the Garfield Housing Authority? Do they do that kind of stuff? That's another start. And other than that, you mentioned Rock and the other ones. There is other avenues if you haven't already taken it. You might want to get in touch with somebody that specializes in looking for mobile home preserving money kind of thing. So I think that's all we got. I feel almost deflated. I'm sorry, but this is terrible. But my cohorts here said it rather well, that money is tight, and moral support, I think, and networking is probably all we can help you with at this point. So with that said, I wish you the best of luck. I wish you lots of strength and hopefully go forward and see what you can drum up so you can make this happen. Okay, thank you for coming. Have a great evening. Thank you. Too late. Sorry.
My name is Emiliano Aranda, so that means you're just not gonna help us?
That's correct at this point, yes.
So
Not with money.
but we're
Big Mike.
So currently, we don't have the financial resources to help, but what City Manager Steve Boyd said is that he's going to do what he can within his network to see if there are financial resources available that we can help connect you with. And so we are limited in what we can do in this particular situation. However, that doesn't mean that we don't know other people who could possibly be of help.
Right. We'll help you make connections. That's where we are. So again, thank you. Thank you for being here. Have a great night. Thank you. It's okay. They're just trying to understand. Pickleball probably. Oh, very much so. All right, let's give it a quick second till we get order back into the room, and
I listened to the folks.
we'll continue from there.
Yeah.
All right, we'll continue. Just real quick, I wasn't quite sure if we're actually done with the comments appearing before council that are not on the agenda. Is there anybody else in this room that's here for the 3 minutes for items that are not on the agenda? No. Yeah, well, I just wanted to make sure. Okay. Let's close the public portion here for tonight for the comments, and we'll move into consent agenda, and I'm entertaining a motion for the consent agenda. And we got Councilor Zelinski,
I move to approve the consent agenda as written.
Councilor Schachter.
Second?
We have a motion to approve in a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We'll see none. That was great. Thank you. Moving on to our first action or presentation, the childcare tax presentation. Item 7 on tonight's agenda. Please come forward, state your name. And I don't know if you have to hook up technology. Yeah, you do. Okay, excellent. So we'll give you a minute to do that.
There was like a present mode, yeah.
There you go.
That's good enough? Okay.
All right.
Right. Good evening, Mayor, councilors, staff. Thank you so much for having us this evening. My name is Maggie Piscornia. We'll be talking to you about our ballot initiative for more affordable, accessible early childhood education from Parachute to Aspen. I've been leading for about 2.5 years a coalition called the Confluence Early Childhood Education Coalition. And that is a coalition of business, education, nonprofit, parent leaders who've come together from Parachute to Aspen. They've been working together since 2017 to improve access and affordability of early care and education, focused on children ages birth to 5. And apart from leading this group, I'm also a parent of 2 little ones. I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. And I grew up here in Glenwood Springs and moved back in 2018 to start my family, and came up against this challenge of navigating trying to work full time and secure, affordable, reliable childcare, just how challenging that is. So we'll be talking to you about that. I'll let Rob Stein introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Rob Stein. I'm formerly the superintendent of the Roaring Fork Schools. And since I left that position 3 years ago, I stayed very involved with the coalition, which I was a founding member of back in, I think, 2016 or 17. I think it was 16, but Maggie thinks it was 17, which means it was probably 17. But the notion we've been working on is to try to find access to families to early childhood education, those crucial growing years of which button is it? This one? Of ages 0 to 5. And even though, I'm a K-12 educator, the most important educational intervention is really in those most formative years, 0 to 5, when kids are most developmentally ready. And there's also the most important educational benefits to those early years. Kids who have high quality early childhood and preschool education, there's a preponderance of research that they are better prepared for kindergarten, they read earlier, they live healthier lives, they have better developmental skills, their social emotional skills, they develop longer lasting bonds and relationships, they're more likely to graduate from high school and college, and they earn higher wages. There's even correlation to lower incarceration rates and higher contributions to society in other ways. So there's really no better educational investment we can make than early childhood. As a superintendent of the school district, I was also one of the largest employers in the Valley. And I know all of you are familiar with the economic challenges. So in addition, it's about making sure that our parents have opportunities to have their kids in healthy, safe environments while they're working. Which one is it? You just do that for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I see. Thanks. So our challenge up and down the valley from Aspen to Parachute is that there's limited capacity of seats or slots for children ages 0 to 5. We only have 44% of the slots we need, and the average family can't afford those slots. This statistic says 35% of their monthly income goes to childcare. Depending on the center, the typical family with 2 children will be paying $35,000 to $40,000 per year for early childhood tuition, which is roughly comparable to college tuition, or it competes with the mortgage payment. And we all know what people struggle with housing in the Valley, but early childhood is also an economic struggle to the same degree for parents with littles.
So from the beginning, the coalition has taken a regional approach to this issue because we know how interconnected our region is. It's really one economic corridor that means that working families are crossing county and municipal lines every day on their commutes. And some families prefer care closer to home, some closer to work, others maybe a more convenient location in between, but we see that's based on different factors that are based on what the family needs. And we want to see access improve throughout the region so that families have that choice. So in order to do this in a regional way, the way we've identified to do this is through a new type of special district for early childhood development. And that's a type of special district that was authorized by the state legislature in 2019. Which allowed communities like ours to pursue this option. And if we do pass this, we would be the first early childhood development service district in the state. And it would encompass all of Garfield County, all of Pitkin County, and the southwest corner of Eagle County that's in the Roaring Fork School District boundary, so on this side of the valley. In terms of what services the district would provide, it would really be designed to tackle accessibility and affordability. So tuition assistance to families to help them afford care, and then grants to providers to increase the number of slots available, to increase teacher wages, since we know that a big piece of growing capacity is improving our staff recruitment and retention efforts in early childhood so that we can keep classrooms open. We have a lot of space actually in different centers, but we can't staff them, and we need to improve the median wage of $17 an hour where, the same a qualified teacher could make that easily somewhere else with a lot less responsibility and stress. It also would provide outreach and navigation of services to make sure that families can find the care that meets their needs and know where there are spaces open and navigate the tuition assistance program, since we have that at multiple levels. We have it at the federal with Head Start, we have the CCAP and universal preschool at the state level, and we even have some municipal support in the city of Aspen. So navigating those different funding sources and making sure that they are this is layered on top of those, and that they can navigate how to access the different types of funding. and then evaluation and admin costs. So it really is envisioned to coordinate with and support or provide direct funding to support our families and our providers and to support the system that's in place as efficiently as possible, rather than duplicating services or even the district would not operate, for example, childcare programs, but would get funding out the door as efficiently as possible to support the providers already doing this work and to attract new ones to the sector. And the plan proposes a 0.25% sales tax to fund the program. And that would include all of the state exemptions for everyday essential items like gas, groceries, medications, diapers, feminine hygiene products, farm equipment, all of that would be exempt. And the tax would raise an estimated $10 million annually. The district would be overseen by a 5-member voter-elected board of directors, which represent geographical portions of the district. So there would be 5 district seats, which are on that map there. And so that's where we are. We have worked on this for many years as a coalition, and excited to be officially launching our campaign, Strong Start, Bright Future for Our Kids. So, yeah, do you want to jump?
Yeah, I want to go back to that $10 million number. National research shows that we locally have a gap of maybe $20 million based on what ideally we could be providing for children in valleys in the community. I'm always skeptical about those ideal cases. Like, so $20 million, we could probably do it for less. So I'm pointing that out because the $10 million infusion into this sector would be significant. It would be difference making for children and families in our community, in our broader extended community, for asking to parachute. It was heartbreaking hearing one of the presentations. It was inspiring hearing one of the others, asking for resources that you all responded, boy, I don't know if we have them. Well, this is doable. And so here's our request, is we're asking for your endorsement and your support for this effort, because we think with this 0.25% sales tax in the region, we can really change the landscape for children and families. So we would like to ask for your either endorsement or a resolution in support. We'd like to ask for your personal endorsements as leaders in the community. And of course, your active support in networking with your friends, so we can get this done in the ballot box in November. I think that's it.
Yep. Questions?
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Thank you for keeping it brief. I like it when it's to the point. Awesome. Thanks for all the info, and I'll bring it back to council for questions. Start with Councillor Smith.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Stein, for clarifying that 10 million, 20 million proposed funding versus perceived need, which I think harkens back to the 40%, that is to say 60% gap. In another of your presentations I heard last winter, you were talking kind of about that in a more general sense, that even with this proposal, we'd still might come up short on the need. What you just said, Rob, makes me feel a little bit better about that gap. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how you should feel, other than I hope you support this. But yeah, I feel very optimistic this will really make a difference. That you know, I'm thinking about other examples like the national. Every subspecialty in education has its own interest group, and they put out evidence-based research showing you need this many nurses in schools, you need this many counselors in schools, and it's always way more than we can, right? And so that $40 million is one of those best case analyses. And I don't say it's wrong, I'd say it's ideal, but we can get by for a lot less. So if 20 million is really like the ideal, I just want to point out to the council that 10 million is big. It isn't just like we're chipping away at this problem. And remember that there are other significant funding streams, most notably the universal pre-K that passed, I think, 3 years ago, and has been in operations for 2 years at the state level, and they formed the new Department of Early Childhood at the state level. And as Maggie said, we want to make sure that we layer that. That's really targeting 15 hours per week for most 4-year-olds. So that doesn't address 0 to 3 years. 15 hours isn't enough for a working parent. But, you know, we want to make sure that we're augmenting the existing funding streams to really make sure that we can, you know, get kids the educational intervention they need and get parents fully into the workforce to the degree they want to.
Right, and those funding sources don't address the capacity issue, so, you know, many of our families can't access that funding if they don't have a slot, right? So,
My second and last question is, in your introduction, you talked about having some business partners in this coalition. What are businesses doing about providing either funding or actual care facilities in your coalition or otherwise?
yeah, there's the Aspen one, formerly Aspen Skiing Company, has been involved in this effort since early on, and they've been investing in expansion projects like Little Blue and Carbondale. They have programs for their employees and invest kind of where they see opportunities for expanding capacity. And then there were ARPA dollars or COVID relief funding that was going to employers who were establishing employer-based childcare programs. So we did see some local employers take advantage of that funding source that we no longer have. But that includes Mountain Family, Valley View, who partnered together to on the Little Adventures project in West Glenwood. And we saw a couple of other projects in the Valley. Stotts Mill was another one in Basalt. So there have been some partnerships there that have taken root. I think that's also an opportunity, I think, in when we're looking at capacity to really bring in other partners as well and kind of figure out that funding puzzle, because if it's brick and mortar, if it's capital projects, that takes many partners coming to the table.
We've had some other, I think, like Valley View Hospital, Gould Construction, Aspen Community Hospital, Aspen Ski Company, been very active supporters. Aspen Ski Company has both been a funder and working on their own expansion of early childhood facilities for their employees. So it's a growing coalition.
And the Glenwood Chamber did give their endorsement today as well.
Did they call you?
They emailed me. We presented this morning, so yeah.
Thanks very much. That's very helpful.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? See none. So I'll bring it back to council and I'll raise the question. Is this something you guys want to talk about endorsing, or is this at a later point? Do we want to have Steve write a letter? I'm not sure a resolution is fit for this. I don't know. Let me hear what you guys think. Councilor Townsley. Oh, we got the wrong name. So Councilor Schmall.
Yes, I think from my perspective, it's premature for us to take a stance on this. I mean, yes, we'd love to have more childcare and family support. We should take under consideration what we want to do, but I would suggest that our support for the Glenwood Chamber of Commerce is already through support that's come to you already. So if nothing else, our support through the chamber is already supporting you.
Okay, thank you. Any other points of view? No one? Okay, well, I kind of agree with Councilor Schmall. I think it's a little premature for us to jump into this. But I'm not necessarily against talking about possibly an endorsement. So I don't know how we would go forward with something like this. Mr. Boyd, what would we do?
I can keep track of it if you want, and if we want to bring it back up either in a work session or an evening, we can do that.
Maybe we'll do that. Would you guys be okay if we just chat about it for 5-10 minutes in a work session? Get a head nod, kind of? Okay, I think that might be the best way forward for us at this point, but one more comment from Councilor Smith.
Just to supplement that, yeah, I think a work session discussion could be more thorough than we can be on the spot. One thing that would help me to know is kind of both fiscal and mechanical effect of this on the city for one, and on other entities that are, we're obliged to do the mechanics of collecting the tax or not?
No, that's,
And what kind of effects that has for our own administrative burdens?
can I respond to that or no?
Sure.
That's at the state level. It'll be collected at the state level.
If it's helpful for us to be at the work session to answer questions, let us know, and one of us will, or somebody.
Sure. Absolutely. Okay, excellent. Well, thank you. Thanks for being here. And thank you, council, for moving us in a certain direction. Ryan informed me he needs a 2-minute break to fix a quick technical issue, so I'll call for a 2-minute recess. We'll, move into item 8, project updates. Ryan Gordon, city engineer, 2 minutes.
Good evening, Council. Ryan Gordon, city engineer. So, quick project update here on our construction projects first, and we'll move on to on-demand afterwards. So, really, really great news. Today, we did the first lift of our paving on the Red Mountain project. Tomorrow's the final lift, so that basically wraps up that project. There'll be some tidying up, some cleaning, some landscaping, but that project is rapidly approaching its end date. So, looks phenomenal, looks great. So, some new water line, new sewer, new curb and gutter, new roads. So major improvement. So Blake Avenue is proceeding well as well. We are pouring a lot of concrete right now. New sidewalk has gone in, lots of curb and gutter. Right now we have a planned date for next Friday. So that's August 29th to put the first lift of the pavement down on 23rd Street. We unfortunately, due to scheduling and some other things, won't finish the paving until sometime in September. But again, making really, really good progress on that project as well. So lots of really good things to see out there. Still the same traffic patterns. Generally speaking, the roadway is shut down. We are opening up the 23rd in Gradden Avenue intersection on tomorrow afternoon for the weekend. But again, that we have a lot of stormwater work right there, so it's closed down for the next couple of days, but great progress. The other major project is, 6th Street North Landing. So 6th Street is essentially done. We have some light poles that are coming in the next 6 weeks or so. North Landing has been progressively well. Right now we're shut down till after Labor Day. And the reason why is both sage shale and pergola foundations are being poured by a specialty contractor that just was scheduled after Labor Day. Once they're done, we're going to wrap up the rest of North Landing. and get it to the point where the last thing to do will be the bathroom itself. We'll have the foundation poured the next couple weeks. A lot of the landscaping, a lot of the pathways done. Certainly in time for the tree lighting ceremony. That's the final date we gave Gould to finish up. But we are well on target to be well ahead of that. So amazing stuff going out there. It looks great. Obviously, you haven't been out there, you should definitely go out there. But I think it's starting to, people getting used to those traffic patterns, the narrowness of the roads, and I think we're seeing some really positive benefits out there. So that's kind of the update of where we are. We have one other major project that's starting in a couple weeks. So that's the Wave Park out in West Glenwood. That'll be happening sometime late September, early October. There'll be some disruptions to traffic on Midland Avenue as we build a pedestrian refuge and a rapid flash beacon. But again, that'll be something that will happen, generally speaking, outside of the roadways itself, but another nice improvement for the community. So I'll kind of leave it there on sort of construction projects right now and turn it to you guys before I jump into the on-demand system.
Okay, thank you. Ryan, any questions? Councilor Townsley.
Please, when you say Wave Park, you're just talking about those stairs that come up on the bottom side and crossing over. There's nothing additional in that?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I should have been a little more exact. Correct. It's nothing with the Wave Park itself, but it's access from the actual river, and then a safe pedestrian crossing for those users.
Any other questions? No, thank you. Ryan, please.
Okay, moving on, and we have a little presentation here. All right, here you go. So we wanted to give you an update of where we are. It's gotta be a way. Button. Well, we're just going to proceed. Ride Loan on Demand, our microtransit system. So now we are through, this is the reporting through the August numbers. See, we got a little now I didn't put this together. I can't take credit for any of this. This is well beyond my pay grade. So someone did this. Little van moving, right? So we have vans that are all wrapped now. So very obvious. You can see them rolling around town. Here's sort of the metrics, right? So again, these are through, we started in May, so we got May, June, and July numbers. So you can kind of see the ridership numbers right here. So from May, June into July now, so 7,350 passengers. So we've a pretty drastic increase in ridership. Sort of the downside, if you want to call it that, we have seen increased wait times kind of creep up now. Again, so in July, the average time was 28 minutes. So again, increased from 11 to start with, 22. So we are seeing the wait time as people frequent it more frequently. The ride service, we are seeing a little longer delays for ridership. We do see the vans, so the 48% shared rides means that 48% those vans have more than one passenger. So again, we're seeing increased ridership. So positive numbers overall, I would say. Again, we're kind of looking here at our passengers, which has generally been fairly steady from a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, although like I said, it has been increasing month over month. And then again, our wait times on the bottom, you are seeing again some increases, and we do seeing some peak times here as we have designated here kind of the weekdays. Anecdotally, we do know that it has been challenging to get a ride during peak times. Just everybody else is on the roads. We know traffic congestion, so there has been some extended wait times, during those peak hours. I think you've seen this before, but again, showing when people are using it. And so I think it's clearly demonstrating that we are seeing lots of ridership through the entire time it is available. Again, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. on the weekdays and 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. on the weekends. So very robust. For some reason, the weekends aren't quite as popular. I think that kind of demonstrates that we're seeing more people using it as a commuter vehicle as opposed to just going in your grocery getters, although we're getting a lot of people using it for City Market and Walmart and Target and those types of shops as well. So the heat maps, again, these are pretty static from month to month, just kind of demonstrating where people are using them. So again, red is hot, green is less hot, still highly popular. But again, the downtown core lots, A lot of the red dots are your general tourist areas or high used areas that you would sort of, anticipate. Moving on to kind of the drop off again, same kind of deal, places you would sort of recognize. So what this kind of looks like is we're digging into the data, right? One of the things we wanted to do was collect data and try to understand commuting patterns. And so this kind of convoluted thing kind of shows, so this is at Iron Mountain Hot Springs, right? So the green dots that you can kind of see, hopefully you can see, it's kind of a little hard to tell, are drop-offs, and the red are pickups. So what we're trying to do is link where popular destinations are to where they're going and start to kind of feel where traffic patterns are to help us make decisions. So while this looks like, boy, we picked up, 100 people in one spot, it's a generalized location, so the data is scrubbed. So for instance, if it goes to your house, it's all latitude and longitude, and there's many decimal places. Several of those decimal places are deleted, so it's a more generalized location. But again, we're trying to say, hey, is it someone picking up at Park West neighborhood and going to Target, or from Target to Glenwood Park, right? Is it not to Target to, one specific address, right? We're not looking at that data, but we're trying to, again, parse out what we can and understand from this information. Again, locations, right? So no shockers here. You can see here pickup locations, drop-off locations, or places that you would see. We are seeing quite a bit of travel from transit stations, right? So 12% of all trips at bus stops, 4% from Amtrak. So we are seeing that people are using public transportation, are opting to use this system as well, which is something we really wanted to see. And as we look forward into the funding, remind you, half this funding is coming from RAFTA. One model they've looked at is trips to and from public transit would be paid for by RAFTA. So again, having this data can really help bolster our conversations with them and how well it's being used for that. This is just a little idea here of the number of riders and the total rides. So again, we are seeing an increased ridership per van, and then also the number of rider accounts. So meaning the one is an individual calling of an individual ride, and so we are seeing more people doing it collectively as well. So I think positive trends. Just to restate where we are as well, right? So $1 fare anywhere in the city. It came from a first last mile grant from RAFTA. The remainder is being funded through our bus tax. Again, we're exploring lots of different options funding wise, right? We're very well aware that at some point this has to stand up by itself. But then some numbers on the costs. So moving forward, again, kind of looking to our neighbors up Valley, see where we go. We're looking at other things like, are we going to add the cost? Is it going to be $2, $3? We're sort of exploring that, adding more vehicles. Again, we really feel like we're just 3 months into this experiment that we want to get a little more data. We're moving out of the summer season into the fall season. Is that going to change riding patterns? So we don't want to be, knee jerky here in our reactions. So as this matures, we're moving into the future. We have already applied for and received the grant for next year. So we have full RAFTA funding for the entire calendar year. You may recall this started in May, right? So we've asked RAFTA for a little bit more money to make sure this is funded for the entire calendar year of 2026. So that's a real quick summary where we are. I want to open it up to you guys for any questions or comments.
Thanks again, Ryan. Back to council. Any questions or comments? We'll start with Councilor Schmall.
So is it too soon to conclude that another van would have reduced the wait time? Do you have enough data to correlate the number of vans to the wait time?
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair conclusion. I mean, that's something that we've kind of figured out too, is if we probably had another van, that wait time would go down. We do know that one more van would cost approximately $23,000 to $25,000 per month to get on the road. So it is something certainly to look at. I do think we want to, like I said, take a step back and say, how are these the right patterns, right? Is this how it's going to look?
Yeah, and don't mess with it until you're comfortable with what you're getting. You know?
Correct, right? And so we're going to pull a bunch of levers, right? So, again, like I said, at some point this has to stand by itself, and we just can't run deficits to do this. So is it $2 a ride? We're going to kind of take a look at that, but we're sort of coming to the same conclusion.
And you've got the cost per ride now, so you know what the target is going to need to be, and maybe when you start getting more comfortable, you can increase the dollar to something in between where you know you want to go, so you get data on what the decrease is in ridership, if any.
Absolutely, yeah.
Good, Ryan.
Thank you. Counselor Smith.
Thank you. I have a question of clarification and maybe a follow-up question depending. Ryan, I heard you say that you've got increased wait times and that you've got a lot of use at commuter time. Are those the same thing? Is that when the wait times go up, is morning and afternoon, or is there wait time all day long?
No, we definitely see trends that during your peak times is when the wait times are higher. So I do think there is a correlation between those two.
Good. Then I do have a follow-up question. Is there some supplemental vehicle or means of giving you a little extra help during those crunch moments, whereas the 3 vans seem to cover it the rest of the day? Have you, for example, had backlash from the taxi company, and would contracting them for 2 hours of service in the morning be cheaper than leasing another van? Can you use a parks and recreation van? Just to have more capacity without leasing a whole new van?
Yep, sir. I apologize for speaking over you.
I did.
No, we have not heard anything negative from the taxi services. No, we haven't done any outreach to them to inquire whether there's been an erosion in their ridership. That is something interesting to consider, possibly to do. One thing we've talked about, again, as a strategy is, we're operating 3 vehicles with 1 in reserve, right? With the idea that if you need an oil change or a flat tire, that we don't lose capacity. So we could ramp up and kind of, run at 100% capacity, all 4 vehicles at the same time is something we could look at doing. But again, is just as you heard from Parks and Rec, right? You want to have 2 boilers because one goes down, you're up a creek. We don't want to have the same situation. So that's something that would consider. And so again, maybe, looking for some external help from the taxi service. I will say that may be challenging just because of the technology. We have an app-based system that alerts the drivers. And so I don't know how that would be blended into, let's say, the taxi company, but it's something that we could look at.
And you didn't really talk over me because I had that afterthought question. Thanks for that response to the possibility of external help. What about internal help? Could you use an existing city crew van or Parks and Recreation transport van for these peak times?
I guess my hesitancy is probably from maybe an insurance perspective, or we don't have a lot of folks just sitting on their hands, kind of waiting to do things. I could jump in there for a little bit. I could drive around a little bit and take a look at things, but I don't know if that's the best use of time. I'm not trying to be flippant here, but I think it is something to kind of take a look at. I think there could be some hangups on there, but I don't think it's a waste of time to explore that avenue.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Schachter.
Thanks, Ryan. At this point, is there a time and data that you'll have to take a look at the convergence of this with ride routes and changes there as well? Is that one of the outcomes we'll be looking for?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I would say probably the next 3 months, get 6 months under our belt with both systems to really kind of see. I don't have any insight in that right now. Lee would help to kind of, parse that data out. But again, that is really, really one of our key things is we know we have X number of dollars from the bus fund, bus tax, and all of these services. And at some point, We just can't continue to have everything. And so we will have to look at that and figure out what that looks like, reduce service or bus stops or something. Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Townsley.
Thanks, Ryan. Two quick questions. You know, with all the data we're collecting through these various means and whatnot, are we looking at all as to, are these people visitors to town that are writing it, or are they residents, or do we have any way of tracking that?
Yeah, so we generally don't have a lot of information on that. The one aspect we do and can and look at is the Pacer AI tool that we have. So Jacob Zook in ComDev can look at that. It's a little bit challenging to kind of parse kind of that out, but we're trying to look at that. Again, if we can kind of look at where people are being picked up and kind of dropped off, that gives us some indication. Are these visitors? Are they not? I would have to look into and ask the question on the app. I mean, because certainly we do have some information and data. We're going to be very, very careful on the data we're collecting. You know, we don't want to, violate privacy, right? So again, a lot of the stuff is anonymous, so to speak. So maybe perhaps we can look at some of that and say, hey, look, are they registered in the city of Glenwood, for instance, versus city of Denver? That could be an option.
And then the second part, just as you're looking at cost and everything going on, do most of the people that ride this now, do they tip the driver? Is that part of what the drivers are doing? Is that discouraged? Is it not allowed? Is it happening? I'm just curious.
Yeah, no. The policy of the company, which is called the Downtowner, is no tips. So there's no tip jar, and it's really discouraged.
Okay.
And I would say we are paying these folks a fair wage, right? So they're not relying upon a tip as a bartender may be. So it's something that we're not. It is highly discouraged and is not allowed by the company.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Quick comment. I've yet to write it. I tried, but I wasn't going to wait 80 minutes for it to show up. And that was a Thursday night at 6:30. And yeah, maybe it was, you showed it during the week. It was peak probably. I find the wait times discouraging. Very much so. And I like the Councillor Smith's idea of running higher capacities like Disneyland. When you got a lot of people waiting, put more boats in. Up the capacity if we can for those peak hours. I think it would, I don't know, even 29 minutes is too long to wait for a ride, in my opinion. It's an average time, but I think it's too long. I was a little skeptical, and I'm still a little skeptical, but we're going to collect more data and we're going to see how it pans out. So with that, thank you. Thank you for the update.
Great. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Councillor Townsley, one more.
I will say one thing, because I've used it a couple times. One, to see how it worked, and then two, just because, it is convenient. I've been told on my app that it's going to be 13 minutes or 16 minutes, and the guy's there at 5. So I don't know if that's in the tracking data or how that's, how that looks, but I've seen people show up a lot faster, never slower, but a lot faster than what my app said it was going to be.
I could see that, but I wasn't going to take an 80-minute chance. Let's put it that way. I wasn't going to do it. So it's all good. Let's see.
Council, thanks for your time. Yeah.
Let's see what we can do. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Ryan.
That's happening, so whether it's over or under is something wrong.
But the question is, what are we collecting? Are we
All right.
collecting the real time?
Guys, if you want to speak, you got to ask, turn the microphone.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I just want to know if, Councilor Zelinski.
So I want to stress that one of the reasons we're collecting this data is to improve our transportation system. So if we are seeing regular demand along a fixed route, we can add a regular, and then you don't have to necessarily wait, what time that's coming. And so I think this is going to help us really identify a much better local transportation model that isn't just on demand.
Thank you. Councilor Schmal.
Yeah, so it's big, it's a 30% discrepancy. If the app said 12 to 16 minutes and it got there in 5, that's something's wrong. And whatever it is in the system is wrong.
Yeah. So I'll dig into that, because you are right. Theoretically, it's a real time tracker, right? When you get the app, right, hey, the thing says 13 minutes and the van is at Target, and it shows you coming through. So I will inquire why that may be. So I don't have a good answer for you because that does seem a little bit odd. I actually could see kind of the opposite, right? It happened to me before, right? It gets stuck in traffic, or again, right? The app the app sends the van to pick other people conveniently. So it may not, directly come to you, but that does seem a large discrepancy. So I'll see if I can't figure out why that may be going on.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anything else? No, excellent. Let's move on. Item 9, tonight's agenda, ordinance 2025-23, amending the collection process for the municipal court.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a really simple update. The court asked that the judge really wanted to see a reasonableness standard and a percentage put in on the collection amounts that went out to a collection company by code. So that's what you have in front of you. Happy to answer any questions. It's literally one sentence.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Carl. Back to council for questions. Yes. Question will open the public portion quick. Anybody here in the audience to comment on this item? I see none. We'll close it, bring it back to us. Entertaining a motion in ordinance 2025-23. Councillor Schachter.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the approval of ordinance 2025-23 regarding the collection process for the municipal court.
Thank you. A motion approved. Councillor Zelinski.
I second.
And a second. Any discussion on ordinance 2025-23? See none, we'll call for the question.
It's unanimous. It passes.
Thank you, Ryan. Moving on, second ordinance tonight, item 10 on the agenda, 2025-25. Updating liquor and marijuana licensing authority. First reading.
Mine has a couple more changes. So under our municipal code, we have a liquor hearing officer who presides over our alcohol and marijuana matters. Examples of duties are the final ruling of transfers and new licenses, and the final issuance of penalties for violations. This ordinance does two things. The first is the Colorado Revised Statute title number that the code references, which deals with alcohol and marijuana, has changed, and this ordinance updates that reference. The second is we are adding marijuana to the title of liquor hearing officer to more accurately reflect their duties. It will now be liquor and marijuana hearing officer. I thought I did a pretty good job.
And yes, you did. Thank you very much for the information.
Clear.
Any questions from council? We'll see none. We'll open it to the public. Anybody from the public? See none. Close the public portion. Bring it back to council. Entertaining a motion in ordinance 2025-25. Councillor Zelinski, please.
I move to approve ordinance 2025-25, which updates the liquor and marijuana licensing authority.
Thank you. We have motion approved. Looking for second. Councillor Weimer.
Seconded.
Seconded it. Thank you. A motion and a second. Any discussion? See none. We'll call for the question.
It passes. It's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Okay, that was it for tonight's actions. Council comments. We'll start with Councillor Smith tonight. Nothing. Councillor Schachter? This point, Councillor Weimer? Nothing. Councillor Townsley? Councillor Small? All right. Again, didn't hit. There it is. There you go.
So if anybody didn't know, the Mountain Mobile Home Park did close on their loan yesterday or the day before yesterday. Well, I was
We
told that-
finalized all the documents and signatures. Signatures all came in today. Final closing packet, I just got it, I don't know, about an hour before council started. So that transaction is completed.
Oh. okay.
Yes.
And they're planning a celebration of their accomplishment at sometime at the end of September, and we'll probably want to include city representation there, so.
Okay, thank you. That sounds good. Congratulations to them. Councilor Zelinski.
So TACA is putting on a presentation called Less Traffic, More Community. It is next Monday, the 25th. I thought it might be relevant. It's free. I got 2 tickets. It's at 7 p.m. if anybody wants to join me.
Who's putting it on?
It's up at TACA. Yeah. Yeah.
Like the
You
van.
could
Oh, I have to
carpool.
Go there.
So anyway, I just thought I'd put it out there. It seems something relevant to the conversations that we've been having. I thought I would take one for the team and go, but if anyone wants to join me,
Okay, cool.
welcome.
All right, thank you for the comment. If I see no other comments, I got a couple of quick ones, and it's mainly questions to staff, and we'll start with Steve. I would like to follow up on the unhoused proposal that we mentioned a couple of meetings ago, and I'm wondering where we're at with that.
I think we're planning a work session, the second meeting in September for you guys.
And all kind of comprehensive of what we could and could not. Okay, I think it's a good, I think the community wants to know what we're doing, and I think it's a good way to move forward. Keep it transparent. Thank you. The other one goes to Carl. I was wondering if we get a Mitchell Cooper update and if the water bill has been paid.
No.
No.
No, no, and no.
I don't really have a lot for you. I think we're gonna have something on the agenda on the next meeting for some action for you guys. Matt wasn't here tonight, so we wanted to have him here for that. And no, the bill has not been paid.
Have we been after them?
Yes, and that's why you have a meeting in 2 weeks that we're going to
Yeah,
ask
but I
you to
wanna
take
know now.
formal action on.
Okay, sounds good. There's more detail to that. Okay, excellent. Reports.
Nothing for me.
Excellent.
The one was the one that Councilor Schnall had. The other one is, I just wanted to do a couple of acknowledgements. As you know, the city has for a long time been deeply involved in the Colorado River and the acquisition of the Shoshone water rights. The city committed $2 million to that acquisition about a year ago. It is going in front of the CWCB for a hearing on that acquisition and allocation of those as in-stream water rights. The call out I kind of wanted to make was Heather Beatty, the county attorney, reached out to me. We were obviously entering appearances on behalf of the city and a number of our other clients on the Middle River. Heather reached out, wanted to know if we could work together along with Garfield County. And so in one of those instances, we don't do that often, and sometimes things are tough with the county, that we are doing a joint presentation at the hearing down in Durango. And I also wanted to kind of acknowledge Commissioner Perry will be a witness at that on behalf of the Middle River. Matt Langhorst will be a witness on that on behalf of the Middle River on technical issues. Tom Harrington, who is the past president of the Cattlemen's Association and the Holy Cross Cattlemen's Association, is going to be a witness on that. And also one of your planning commission members who also happens to own a rafting company here in town, Gregory Cowan, is also going to be one of the witnesses at that hearing. And I'm leaning on Gregory to kind of be the MC because the way the rules are for this, attorneys don't actually get to do anything. You're a witness if you're signed up. So it's going to be a little bit of a free for all down there. But anyway, I just wanted to call out that one, working cooperatively with Garfield County on something, and two, that those members of our community are stepping up and taking their time to get prepped and go down and participate in this. So thanks.
All right, thank you. Councilor Small.
And what is supposed to happen in Durango?
So it's a hearing in front of the CWCB where they're making a determination on whether or not they are willing to both. There's a large grant that was on the table from the state, as well as accept those water rights as in-stream flow water rights, the Shoshone water rights. There is, as you can imagine, huge opposition off the Front Range, and so this has turned into probably 20 to 30 hours of testimony at this hearing. So it's a big deal for the Western Slope.
And the question is whether or not
the conversion of those water rights, the acquisition of those water rights by the West Slope and the use of them for in-stream flow purposes underneath CWCB's enabling statutes is appropriate.
So one, whether we can acquire them.
We
and
can
two,
acquire them
what
too.
we can do
yeah.
with them.
Yeah, the big one is about, in Colorado, in-stream flow water rights can only be held by the CWCB. And so we're proposing somewhat of a unique situation where we would continue to own them, and lease them back to the CWCB as in-stream flow rights. So whether or not we can do that is critical to whether or not that acquisition makes sense, right? If we can't maintain those flow, the acquiring those water rights is to ensure that we can maintain those flows, whether or not the Shoshone power plant is operational or not. Because obviously when it goes down and is not operational, those water rights they can be taken by junior diverters, many of which are on the Front Range, and take out of the headwaters of the Colorado. And so that Shoshone right controls a significant amount of water and pulls it down as far as here. And then for Glenwood Springs in particular, recreationally, it means we have a much longer rafting season. So trying to maintain that moving into the future. And then it also has significant impacts regarding what we call the 15-mile reach and the endangered fish in the 15-mile reach, as well as to the Grand Valley below us. And certainly that water being pulled down and through the upper headwaters communities because of the Shoshone water right call maintains flows in those rivers, places like Grand County and Summit County that rely on, the Blue and the Upper Colorado for that big part of their economies or recreation-based economies.
Okay, there we go. Thank you. Just making sure you're done. I guess we have some correspondence. Mr. Muse?
We do. Colorado Cycling thanks us for our FAB grant.
Of course.
As does the meeting place.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you. And you're welcome for acknowledge them. And that concludes our meeting for tonight. We will move into an executive session for discussion with city attorney pursuant to CRS 246402-4E for determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators, and pursuant to CRS 246402-4B to receive legal advice and specific legal questions, both regarding the South Bridge project. And I entertain a motion to enter the executive session. And Councillor Selinsky.
I move to go into an executive session for a discussion with city attorney pursuant to CRS 24-6-4024E for determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators, and pursuant to CRS 24-6-4024B to receive legal advice on specific legal questions, both regarding the South Bridge project.
Excellent. We have a motion to enter executive session. Looking for a second.
I'm sorry, what was the motion? A second.
Thank you.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed, we'll see none. Thank you.
I was like, I need to pick a point.